Come, let us explore Patrul Rinpoche's second yoga of the 5 poisons. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. The recommended reading following tonight's lesson is the 43rd through the 48th passages of Tantra's Treasure of Raktatare. This, along with the PDF version of tonight's practice text, can be found on the downloads page, whose link is in the description area below this video. So today's practice text begins on page 138. This is an enormous PDF. True, it has been formatted to be read upon your smartphone held horizontally. But to navigate this behemoth of a PDF, number 1, download the free Kindle app. Number 2, when you migrate your PDF into the Kindle app, it will ask you to either A, open it up as a Kindle document, or B, open it up as a PDF. It's imperative that you choose to open it up as a PDF, otherwise you will lose all the formatting. And nobody wants that. Excuse me. We will begin with Tantra's 4 bases of mindfulness. The Buddha was the first to teach mindfulness meditation. Before him, concentration was taught exclusively. Mindfulness is the opposite of concentration. Where concentration is rigid and active, mindfulness is flexible and passive and vulnerable and spontaneous. When the Buddha first began practicing mindfulness meditation, after years of rigid concentration, it was as if the metaphoric doors of his senses were flung open, and he found it helpful to organize his experience in terms of 4 things. From the perspective of the Theravada school of Sutra, those 4 bases are body and feelings and mind and phenomena. From the point of view of Tantrayana or Vajrayana or Buddhist Tantra, the perspective is circumstance and body and communication and mind. So we are going to work with those right now. We're going to begin by working with our circumstance. Now, this is predicated on a familiarity with the 6-syllable mantra Om Tare Tam Soha, which I explore in a previous lesson. If you have not mastered it, that's okay. Arguably, each of these lessons is an entry-level lesson. However, if you would like specific drills to pronounce each syllable, that can be found in Naropa's second yoga lesson, which you can find upon the download page, whose link is found in the description area below this video. So let's start. At the top we see the heading, Circumstances Wisdom. This is not the cleverness to create a longer lasting light bulb, but rather the wisdom of letting go. On the left, in smaller font, we see one phrase, observant inhalation, and the other phrase, relaxingly whisper. These 2 phrases serve as a type of contemplative notation, which is rather similar to musical notation. They tell us Then when we notice our body breathing, remember we don't concentrate on the breath, nor do we control the breath. However, when we do notice we are breathing in, we're going to silently and mentally recite these 7 syllables. And when we feel that it's time to breathe out, we're going to whisper the 6-syllable mantra 4 times. Oops, look what I did to the text. So I'm going to explain the actual words that we're going to feed into our inner monologue, kind of like feeding fruit into a running blender to create a smoothie. What we're basically exploring is that our circumstances are appearing yet non-graspable. So circumstances, a synonym for our circumstance could be our lot in life. And we can take the 3 syllables of the phrase lot in life and then shrink that down to the word lot. For in contemplative notation, we strive to use an economy of syllables. So our lots are seen yet void. And this is the Mahayana teaching of the 2 truths. The way things are perceived through the lens of mindfulness, and the way things are perceived through the lens of wisdom. Now, some people say, which is better? You need both, just as a bird cannot take to the skies without both its wings. Likewise, we cannot be healthy and liberated and resourceful without both mindfulness and letting go. So, voidness, in this context, the word void, serves as a metaphor for non-graspability. So how does that fit into reality? Because we live in a pretty tangible world. Glad you asked. I can explain it in the following run-on sentence, which hopefully you've had the very good fortune to hear me say many times, until eventually you memorize it and completely comprehend it. During our inhalation, as we notice our circumstances could seem permanent and separate and rather solid. However, as we relax into the whispered recitation of mantra, and the key word here is relax, as we relax into the whispered recitation of mantra, these exact same circumstances could feel less permanent and less separate and less tangible. In fact, when you do this twice a day, every day, in just a few number of days, you could feel on the out-breath as if these circumstances were as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. What would be a great example of a vast, empty void? The infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful, crisp morning. Crisp, cloudless morning. You can see it, but you can't grasp it. You can reach up above you with your hands, fingers splayed, make a fist, pull it down, open it up, and there is no sky in your hands. You can see it, but it's not graspable. Of course, that reminds me of the wonderful 90s song, Epic, by Faith No More. If you get a chance to listen to the video on YouTube, I highly recommend it. Especially if you're going to work out. It will pump you up. So now we understand the Mahayana teaching of the 2 truths of seen yet void. Now, there are 2 primary three primary differences between Sutra and Tantra is that Tantra takes the Sutra teachings and then adds energy work and mantra work and metaphor. So we're going to work now with simile, which is basically metaphor with training wheels. There are many archetypes of enlightenment. The one whose mantra I work with the most is Red Tara, which can be translated, well, in Sanskrit is Raktatare, in Tibetan is Dromomarmo, and in a literal translation in English, it would be Red Star. So, just as you and I have circumstances and bodies and a faculty of communication and a faculty of mind, so does the real or imagined archetypes of enlightenment. And in Buddhist art and imagination, especially in the imagination of a fundamentalist, we sometimes view the paradise and the body and the mantra and the syllable of a Buddha as being comprised of light, appearing and sensual and resounding and lucid, yet non-graspable. And so what we're going to do is, instead of worshiping a real or imagined entity and asking them for favors, instead what we're going to do is use the idea of an entity to train our hearts and minds in letting go. That is the quick path to great bliss. So, lots like Tade's seen yet void, which is a concise way of saying our circumstances, like an enlightened archetype's paradise comprised of light, is seen yet as non-graspable as a vast empty void. That's a lot of words, and if we tried saying all that during our in-breath, we would turn red, and then blue, and then tip over, and then wiggle funny, and really frighten the dog. So, just like counting sets and reps in the gym, we're going to count sets on our left hand and repetitions on our right hand. Come, let us touch the tip of our left thumb to our left little finger. Let us slide that bad boy down until it comes to rest upon the lower set of creases. Congratulations, you are now fully equipped to keep track of your first set. Now it's time for repetitions. We're going to work with our right hand. We're going to count during our first breath. We're going to slide the tip of our right thumb up our right little finger. And each time we recite the first syllable of the mantra, we will advance the thumb until we've recited the mantra 4 times on one breath. So let's do this together right now. Lots like Tade's seen yet void. And now on our right ring finger, lots like Tade's seen yet void. Voidness is nothing we need to believe in. It is nothing we need to understand. It is something we experience when we really relax into the whispered recitation of the mantra. That is why I say the pronunciation of the mantra is not nearly as important as our enthusiasm to relax into the recitation. Let us continue upon our right middle finger. And now let us conclude upon our right index finger. Now we're going to switch gears and explore our bodies. A synonym for body is form. And as any boy or girl in junior high going through the travails of puberty can tell you, we feel our bodies. And even though they are tangible, they are non-graspable. So let's explore this paradox right now. But first, we're going to advance the tip of our left thumb up our left little finger to the middle set of creases. All right. Let's begin on our right little finger. Forms like tates, felt yet void. It doesn't matter whether we believe or disbelieve in a real or imagined archetype named tate. It doesn't matter if tate exists or doesn't exist. For instance, if I said that runner was as fast as the comic book character The Flash, and then you said there is no such thing, he's purely fictional, would that make the runner any slower? Of course not. Welcome to the beauty of figures of speech. Why do we play with them? Because the oldest parts of our brain are wired to think symbolically. Of interpersonal experience. So this is a constant in Buddhism, regardless of which century or which region it is practiced. So we're going to take the idea of the interpersonal experience and shrink it down just like wool placed in a dryer until we come up with the monosyllabic synonym speech. Speech like tates, tates what? Tates mantra. Speech like tates, heard yet void. Let's play with this right now. First, let's advance the tip of our left thumb upon our left little finger to the higher set of creases. All right. Speech like tates, heard yet void. Remember, relax as best you can during the recitation. If you have trouble finding the lesson where we go into great detail explaining the pronunciation of the six-syllable clarity. When we talk about the mind is clear light, that has sadly degenerated into a deeply misunderstood slogan. Clear light means the mind is clear or perceptive, yet as non-graspable as a syllable comprised of light. You see, in India, there were two types of mantra. There were polysyllabic mantras and monosyllabic mantras. Polysyllabic mantras were called Maha mantras or great mantras. Monosyllabic mantras Now we are going to blend our mantra work with our Mahayana, with our sutric contemplation. We're going to explore the 5 mental poisons. The word poison is a metaphor. We're not talking about strychnine or rat poisoning. Now, the key to understanding this is the heading. Letting go of hate to experience mirror-like wisdom. And I threw the preposition "the" in there, which is poor grammar. Okay, so let's break this down. There is a myth that the antidote for hate is a mirror-like wisdom. And so some people with good hearts but empty brains spend hours and weeks and months and years trying to contrive mirror-like wisdom in an effort to extinguish the fires of hate. The great irony is this: if we notice our hate during our in-breath and then relax as best we can during our out-breath, thus letting go of it, we will experience mirror-like wisdom. So think of it this way. Mindfulness and relaxation are the water we pour on the fire of hate that reveals the ashes of mirror-like wisdom. That is a simile, crude, but it'll do in a pinch. Now, don't take my word for it. play with these exercises every morning and every evening for 7 consecutive days. That is the only test of the Buddha's teachings, or those who claim to be a teacher of the Buddha. Now, we're going to count these next 5 sets upon our left ring finger. Touch the tip of that left thumb to that left ring finger. Slide it down to the lower set of creases. Prepare now to count upon our right little finger. And now we're going to play with a rhetorical question. And if anybody knows the definition to rhetorical question, I invite you to type it into the chat window. The power of a rhetorical question lies not in our efforts to answer it as if it was some great metaphysical Rubik's Cube. Au contraire, the power of a rhetorical question lies in our silent and mental recitation of the question, combined with our relaxation and harmony with our breathing. How relax into the awareness of hate that shoves. Now, we're not talking about a person. Hate towards anything tries to shove that object away from us, whether it is physical pain or disease or hunger or loneliness or scorn, anything that might be perceived as a danger or a source of pain, we are wired to shove away. And if we pretend we don't have that tendency, we'll end in tears. Our best job is to notice that tendency and then relax into the mantra and observe what happens next. In Alex Haley's Roots, I talked about the agriculture in Africa, how crops would be burned, and then the ashes would actually be good for the soil and new things would grow up. When that is an even better simile of what happens when we relax into the fires of hate and then watch the crop of mirror-like wisdom grow up. Okay, how relax into the awareness of hate that shoves. Our right ring finger. The second mental poison is greed. And greed is that which reaches out for what is not present, whether it is gain or pleasure or praise or fame or food or clothing or water or employment. We are wired to reach for that which we need. But sometimes that reaching can make us nutty, nuttier than a shithouse rat. Come, let us advance the tip of our left thumb up our left ring finger to its middle set of creases. How relax into the awareness of greed that reaches. the brain stem to the midbrain. If we can go through life and live life from the perspective of empathy and cooperation, our life will be a paradise. Tests have proven consistently, peer-reviewed studies have shown that all things being equal, you accomplish more with cooperation than you do with competition. Perhaps that is why the antithesis of jealousy is all-accomplishing wisdom. How relax? We're going to count upon our right little finger. How relax into the awareness of jealousy that forgets interdependence, that forgets that we are all in this together. Many decades ago, when I was first entering the Buddhist path, I was competitive, politely, playfully, gently, but competitive. And Genwang Mo pulled me aside and explained, "Oh, he who is greedy for enlightenment, if you can sincerely rejoice in the good karma of others, and then you will earn good karma as well. In fact, it is the lazy path to enlightenment. All you have to do is sincerely rejoice in those around you who are studying and meditating, and you will earn as good karma as good as theirs." Now, she was probably speaking hyperbolically from a position of fundamentalism. But the idea is, there's more power in rejoicing over the good fortune of others than being jealous. Let us continue upon our right ring finger, how relax into the awareness of jealousy that forgets interdependence. It would be nice to advance our thumb because we have one more set of exercises, but we've run out of ring finger. So that thumb is going to go over the back of the ring finger and make its way down to the higher knuckle. Not the higher crease, but the higher knuckle. Just like you're going to flick a burger. Letting go of pride to experience equalizing wisdom. I remember in first grade being certain that I was the smartest kid in the class, even though I didn't even though I didn't get 100% of my test scores. I was just convinced I was the smartest. I was so convinced that when the teacher would have us check our homework and would read to us from the answer key, if her, I kid you not, if her answer is different from mine, I asked her if she would please check again. The thought of my fallibility was inconceivable, to quote our friend from Princess Bride. So, I think all of us are acquainted with the heady draft of hubris. Let us count now upon the three sets of creases and tip of our right little finger. How relax into the awareness of pride that forgets impermanence. You know that no matter how awesome we think we are, we ain't gonna last forever. No mood ever lasted forever. No beauty ever lasts forever. Sadly, sharpness of mind does not last forever. Wealth does not last forever. Fame does not last forever. Success does not last forever. Whatever we take pride in is temporary, and as the scope of time increases, that which we take pride in becomes more and more insignificant. How relax into the awareness of pride that forgets impermanence. If there's just one thing you take away, it's that we are observant during the inhalation and that we relax as best we can during the whispered exhalation. Oopsie, sorry, microphone. Well, that completes our 5 exercises transmuting the 5 poisons into the 5 wisdoms. If our brain, so that was 9 contemplations in total. If our brain was a dog, right now, it would be panting. So instead of giving it an additional contemplation, let us give it a meditation. Meditation is basically watching the play of mind and physically relaxing into our mental release of whatever we've observed. It is known, the Buddha's meditation is known by many names: Zen, Chan, and Sati Passaddhi, Mahamudra, Hatha Yoga, Mahasandhi, as well as Trekcho and Dzogchen. On the in-breath, we're going to silently and mentally recite, "Notice this." And on the out-breath, we're going to silently and mentally recite, relaxing. This is a silent exercise, no whispered mantras. This is not concentration. It is not active. It is not constricting. It is not controlling. It is not analyzing. It is not labeling. Au contraire, it is acquiescent and vulnerable. It goes with the flow. And we notice non-conceptually whatever we experience, be it external or internal, pleasurable or painful, glorious or grotesque, interesting or boring, coarse or subtle, whether we notice our sensations or flavors, or scents or sights or sounds, whether we notice emotions or intentions, thoughts, recollections, or imaginings. Whatever we notice, the only label we use is the vague pronoun this. And let's count this upon the lower set of creases of our left. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to our left middle finger and slide that bad boy down to the lower set of creases. Can you notice a pattern here, by the way? Okay, let's count now upon our right little finger. Notice this. Relaxing, we're going to do this for 16 breaths. Notice this. Relaxing. And now upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right ring finger, notice this. Relaxing. And now count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right middle finger. This is what some people call the great completion phase. Notice this relaxing. We're going to conclude with a very concise love practice. First, let's advance the tip of our left thumb up our left middle finger to its middle set of creases. Let us now count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right little finger. Great luck for all beings, lots, all beings, circumstances. We advance the page and prepare to count upon our right ring finger. Great health for all beings, forms. Great peace for all beings, speech. In other words, may everyone's experience of the interpersonal be peaceful and free from strife. We are now going to conclude upon our right index finger. Great joy for all beings' minds. Someone once asked me, how can I give people these things when I don't have them? Simple. You're not giving nothing. You're just wishing. You can wish, can't you? Kind of reminds me from that line from To Have and to Have Not. You know how to whistle, don't you? Just purse your lips and blow. Great joy for all beings' minds. And that concludes tonight's practice. My friends, as you play with this on your own, either with or without the video, simply working with the practice text, questions will most likely arise. When they do, ask me the questions. Reach out to me either on Instagram or on YouTube, and I'll do my very best to answer your questions. You can reach out to me on Instagram using a direct message and on YouTube through the comment function. And I'll either answer your question through a blog post on Instagram or a video on YouTube. If you have found value in these videos and podcasts and blogs and class materials, numerous and free to download, then please consider supporting this channel by making a monthly donation using the link in the description area below the video. If you cannot do that at this time, then please support the channel for free. If this is your first time at the channel, please click the subscribe button and the notification button that looks like a bell. In addition to that, whether this is your first time or your 7th time, please click the like button, the thumbs up button, and write a comment. These things really help with the algorithm. I'd like to conclude by dispelling the myth of the greedy monk. For in the Tibetan tradition, neither monks, nor yogis, nor lamas are supported by the monasteries. They have to pay to stay in the monasteries. It's kind of like a hotel or an apartment. And so monks and yogis and lamas are expected to find patrons from amongst their family members or friends or students or strangers. Those who won't or can't wander as vagabonds. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. Until next we meet, may you and yours be happy and healthy.